that we listened, I'm sure you did listen to that budget presentation in front of the Joint National Assembly. It seemed more like a pat on the back or a scorecard of sorts. Not necessarily seeing any wrong in what's happening, acknowledging some and not acknowledging the others. And that's not our conversation today. But in the absence of the president, in your words, recognizing and looking within, again, 2023 beckons. We're seeing names thrown into the air. We're seeing conversations around people who may or may not succeed the president. But the teething problems, the elephant in the room, is that we are fighting corruption, a corruption that the president and his administration promised to deal with is still the biggest elephant in the room. We're still dealing with disobedience of, court orders and, lack of any regards for the rule of law. We're seeing that protesters can no longer protest, freely without them being shot at, and those who are being shot at cannot get justice. We're seeing a long list of these things happening. And I go back to the question that I asked earlier on. If we cannot rely on the people who we gave the mandate to write the kind of laws that would help us, people who are supposed to represent us, what do we do then?
This question has been answered, but not satisfactorily.
I think we're having connection problems with you, Mr. Logun. So I'm going to switch back to Bola.
I've heard from the government is that you wait for the year.
Go ahead.
Okay. That, we've constantly been told by the government that we have to wait for the election years if we are not satisfied with the performance. And that is very dangerous. So that means if you are driving me in the wrong direction and we have to pass through bus stops, I must wait until we get to the destination, whether successfully or otherwise. Mm-hmm. And like you have expressed also, it has become very dangerous under a democracy to protest. We call it emotional ventilation in HR. So people are not even allowed to express their pains. You see the expression of inequity in the land, injustice in the land. Bandits are being pampered, and some agitators are being hammered. It's quite obvious. But in answering your question, what we are told is that we have to wait till 2023. But what happens if by 2023 or before 2023, this court have taken over about 18 wards in Niger State? Then where do we turn? What happens if the threats that came up when we heard these Boko Haram people, Islamic States of West Africa, who said they applied in Niger State? I know how close Niger State is to Asobila. We have quickly retorted that what happened in Afghanistan cannot happen in Nigeria. But I have done a personal study and research and discovered that what Mohammed Yusuf started in Nigeria in around 2000 and 2002 is in line with the template of Mohammed Umar, who started that of the Taliban in Afghanistan. So where do we go? Look at the economy. Look at everything. So where do we go from there? Are we now going to say that working together in Nigeria now? Look at the southern governors and the northern governors. We seem not to agree about everything. We are back to what happened in 1953, May 1953, when we were going to have our independence from the colonial masters, the killings in Kano, because we did not agree on that venture. And today we are here to synchronize and be a united nation to focus on development. So where do we go?
Okay, great question. But let me go to Bola Oba. Mr. Oba, I keep hearing that, and this is a recurring statement in Pastor Bakare's message to Nigerians in his State of the Nation message. I keep hearing that we need competent Nigerians who are able to lift us out of the corruption, the endemic corruption that we're facing, that would give us a change of scenery. So the question that keeps coming to mind every time I hear anybody say this, whether it be a politician or not, is, are we really in short supply of people who are capable of doing right or leading us as the Constitution dictates and fighting corruption? Or is it that the system just keeps throwing up the same sorts of people and the door is shut on the faces of the people who are really there to serve?
One of the failures they find United States of America, be it in United Kingdom, be it even in some reasonable places where you still have a relative degree of a modicum of relative decency in how they dramatize the liberal democracies, say like Germany, or one of the major foibles, especially in liberal democracies where money becomes a major agent of actualizing political aspirations, is what you get in Nigeria. People who have the money, not necessarily because they are value creators, not necessarily because they are competent, not necessarily because they can turn situations around, but because they have a pool of money to leverage, to abuse the systemic dignities of the democratic system. Even the gentleman who told us, and when they adopted him, they ultimately not only paid for his form, but also supposedly financed his campaigns. We are where we are with that too. So I'm sitting there thinking that your question is a question that can be best answered if one observes the integrity of democracies, liberal democracies across the world, from America, that ultimately thrill when there is riot, or when they are accused in petrol forecourts in England, form of systemic nonsensicalness.
So you're saying that we're creating the monster of money politics that you have rightly described?
I am not, when I hear people wanting to blame the Nigerian electorate, I see wanting to do analysis, blaming the victim for the conduct of his or her abusers. I don't know how I cannot do political analysis like that. Look, this is a country where, and I'm talking as somebody who does it on a daily basis. If you incentivize an average Nigerian, you will be shocked the level of brilliance, the level to the basic animalistic state of existence. Somebody is telling me that we should blame them.
Okay. All right. Finally, Mr. Logo, I'm going to let you be put the cap on this one. So we're talking about all the problems. Let's talk about solutions, the way forward. Pastor Bakare has said that we have a single assignment, and it is to send them packing, them in this regard, the politicians who are, in the words of Walaba, driving us into the abyss. The average Nigerian is hungry. He's telling you that
the election in Rwanda. Rwanda is one of the fastest growing economies in Africa right now. Look at what happened in Tanzania. So it's not going to end here. Some people rose up to agitate for the independence of Nigeria from the colonial masters, and the agitations are on now. Whether people are being killed or not, will you kill 200 million Nigerians? The answer is no. And so when you have the opportunity to manage resources, you either excel or you fail. And from all indications, this regime is the insecurity that is in the country. But what report do we have in the boardroom now? We have gone worse in all these major areas. And so it's either you hide your head in shame or wait for God to bring about the change that the people decide, because God means well for the people. That's why the likes of us have decided not to keep quiet. And we agree with the fact that somewhere along the line, the sun will rise and there will be light at the end of the tunnel.
All right.
And that is what Nigeria deserves. Can you imagine, and let me end with this, that Nigeria that has the largest deposit of proven gas in Africa is now threatening the people that the price of gas may be increased by 100%. We don't have electricity. We are constructing railway line to Niger Republic. We are planning to set up filling stations in Niger Republic. So what offense have Nigerians committed that has made them to be subjected to this level of hardship? But then, we may be helpless, we are not hopeless.
Okay.
We keep praying and talking that there shall be an intervention to put this country back.
And of course, if they are adequately prepared for political leadership, stay with us.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
You are sitting on Nigerians' money.
From the barbing, I pay my rent.
Hello and welcome. It's Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime. Nimasa This Week is brought to you by the Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. Statutorily mandated to ensure that there's regulation and promotion of matters affecting our waters.
Nimasa This Week, the voice of maritime, showing on this channel.
In May 2018, the Not Too Young to Run bill was signed by President Muhammadu Buhari. It was believed that it would pave the way for Nigerian youth to foray into politics and make their impact on the country. However, the results of the 2019 election show that even if there was a positive trend in youth participation, with youth candidacy increasing from 21% in 2015 to 34.2% in the 2019 elections, the number of youths aged 18 to 29 voted into elective positions in Nigeria. Yes, it's a non-governmental organization, but I'm made to understand that you give to society and really nothing in return, but you're trying to be nation builders. So how many young people, what's the percentage of young people that the JCI has been able to recruit in the Nigerian space?
Okay, so firstly, JCI actually equip young people, young persons that wish to be a leader with the necessary tools and resources that will help you to solve some challenges within your
leadership and us young people being more interested in leading. What role has JCI played in that? And let's not even go into the politics part of it. Let's leave politics out of it. Let's talk about leadership, being ready for leadership, knowing that you need to step up to the plate.
Okay, so in our own organization, we train members to be a leader. And by the virtue of that, you would have been given opportunity to lead we have leaders in our organization. We have young ones that can be trusted with tasks, and they will execute it without putting their whole self-interest ahead.
I remember sometime in 2014, if not 2015, if I'm not mistaken, former President Olusegun Obasanjo was talking about young people not being ready to take on the reins of power from what he saw, from his prism. But you've been working with young people. You're a young person. You're the 50th president. Congratulations. How ready are we?
There was a military president. How old was he? Quality, them leading certain group of numbers. If we entrust them with some responsibility, you can be rest assured that you can go back and sleep. They will do it as it is expected, and it's going to be benefit to this nation, benefit to the society, and everybody will be glad.
I see a lot of Nigerian young people, succeeding in entrepreneurship in the tech industry. We see a lot of them, outside the country, even within the country, they seem to be holding forth for, but then we look at the percentage of the people who are plugged into those areas and are pace setters. It's their tiny percentage. So how is JCI reaching out, not just to the people that are within, the JCI? What are you doing to empower other young people who are not your members? Because, I've heard all kinds of things about this generation of young people, us, the millennials, and, the distractions that we face, or sometimes, the brick walls that we get from the people who are older than us and those who have come before us. So how are you actively getting young people to understand that they do have a responsibility, whether it's within the politics or outside of politics? Okay,
so in our own national organization, for instance, we'll be having an event on Thursday, a Digital Global Economy Summit, because COVID-19 brought a lot of opportunities to us. It opened our eyes to a lot of untapped opportunities. So we'll be having close to 1,000 youths seated discussing on digital global economies vis-a-vis the new tech in our environment, in country, in the whole world at large. So we are trying our own best. What I see that our input in bringing young people to come together and to also join the fold is still an infinitesimal of the numbers of the youth we have in the country. But because of the fact that we also have the local organization almost in about 30 states in the country, so gradually we'll get across to every members of the youth. But I want to challenge the other youth to also try as much as possible to join the trade, to join Leadership and International Nigeria, so that necessary leadership traits that they need to learn before they actually get the opportunity to probably become a local government chairperson, a member of House of Assembly, they would have probably been under a tutelage of what we call a leadership class, and that can help their performance in the future engagement.
You're a young person. Let's step away from JCI now. Let's talk about you as a young person and what you see in your daily life. Young people in October of 2020, it's gradually going to become a year now, decided to hit the streets because they were asking for good governance. They were asking that they not be stereotyped by policemen. They were asking for an end to police brutality. And we all know the aftermath of that, campaign or that protest. Now, how do you get a young person to even get involved or get interested in turning Nigeria around? Yes, we see a lot of conversations going on social media. That same social media has been shut down by the government. So again, it does somewhat box the young person in. So as a young person, do you feel that every time you have to come up for air to be able to make anything happen? Or do you even feel like your 2 cents is important in this country?
What can I do as a youth of this nation to contribute to the development of the country? And when we look at the issue of that you cited, what I feel that actually caused the fallout is because there was no direction. And in many settings, if we are fall in the room and we did not appoint a leader to give us the direction to which we want to channel our request towards, then it could probably hint in a way that we may not actually foresee. So I feel that's the only reason why I said, for us, we just feel like, okay, we need to allow somebody to take a lead. And once that person can take us to maybe a nearest destination, somebody else can also be given opportunity to take it up. So in our own organization, it's always 1 year to lead. You will be allowed to be a president, it's January 1st and December 31st. So whatever you can do to make your own impact, to make your own contribution to the organization, you do it within that 1 year, because all that must also be given opportunity to lead.
What do you think about young people participating or being involved in partisan politics, not because they want to run for office, but because they want their voices to be heard? So we hear that thing of, oh, politics is a dirty game, it's best that you stay away. And this is ditto for not just young people, but even women. As much as we hear every day that women need to be involved, we hardly see these women because society in itself is a barricade. I don't know what the JCI is doing to...
And there's no way you want to trace the fallout of any election without tracing it back to those politicians, because they are the ones that engage those youth with the necessary things they actually need. They thought they could use to have that office. But once we can have a leader that have this interest of the masses in their heart, and it's not all about what you want to gain from that office. If you're leading for the interest of the society, then you don't need a gun to win your election, because you want to serve us.
Do we have those people in our political class as we speak? Do you think we do have those type of people?
You can't take it out of elections. You can't take it out of elections process. You can't take it out of politics.
But do you think that we have leaders in our political class now, just wrap your mind around it, that have the mind to lead the heart of the people? I'm talking about the National Assembly, the executive, all of the people that are leading us
today.
So
when you have, in a situation whereby you have two persons out of 100 that have the interest of the heart, interest of the masses in their hearts, do you know that you cannot feel the effect? And that was why I would say it's an infinitesimal of the numbers of the totality of what we have. We have some of them at the House of Assembly that are still leading. They are leading, they are serving their people. They are not keen about the resources they want to get from that office. They are leading to serve people. But
it's practically built or set up against you.
So sometimes we don't have to probably look at what the people you see as your leaders, the people you see as the people that you see that should have given you direction to take a decision. You have to be yourself. You have to believe. You have to live in a way that you know. In our inaction, we always have to they should lead by example. They should try as much as possible to join our own organization so that they can also have opportunity to lead at a particular time, to also learn. Like I said, we as JCI, I will not provide platform for them to be a good leader. And we are that organization that develop leaders for changing world. And for us to have a better society, it begins with me and you.
All right. Well, Abiola Olorunishola is the 50th president of JCI Nigeria, and he's been our guest tonight. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
All right. We'll take a quick break, but I want to first thank you for being part of the conversation tonight. Let's hear what Nigerians have to say as regards to preparing the young person for leadership. And when we return, I'll be saying my goodbyes. Thank you.
For us to involve youths, people who are very, very, they have a wide scope of experience at their places of work, and they could start from their local governments.
If there can be a conducive environment that youth can participate without grudges, and if government can create a good platform in the sense that it will not be money driven, people that have vision, that have mission, that are articulate, that have passion for change in this nation will have that zeal to join political parties. Now they are saying it as a joke in the essence that best brains are not being attracted to politics now. But if there is a conducive environment, if there is no enmity, things are working in order, more youth will participate in politics.
One of the things we can do to improve or to involve youth in these days politics is one, first thing is to bring down the age barrier which youths can be eligible to be is enlisted for positions, and then two again, the old generations or the old people now should know that they have missed missed their own time, because this time is actually for the youth.
Like people do say during the Obasanjo's era that youth are the future leaders of tomorrow, and because of a lot of things that are going on now, because you doesn't have money to sponsor their political career, and there's something I do advise some of the youth. You have to learn. You have to start. You must start from somewhere. Not minding that some our leaders are not. They are not trying. They don't want to bring the younger ones up. But you have to put your head in. Like I have to give the kudos to some of the state government. Some young ones are now getting themselves involved in the House of Assembly post. Advisors, SPA, this, SPA that. From then you can raise small funds down to sponsor your political career.
And that's it on Plus Politics today. It's just Monday. I will be back tomorrow. I am Mary Anacon, and we'll be having more conversations talking for development. Have a good evening.